Hello, YouTube. So I've decided to make a bit of a mid guide. Um, Honestly, don't know how long this is going to end up being, but this is a 1v1 I played on stream today that I'm going to use as an example. Poor Mr. Lone Druid. Um, so this is me being not way higher. I think he's about 6 KMR, I think. Close, somewhere between 6 and 7 KMR. He's an Arc Warden spammer, and I decided to just play Quap. It was like a little 1v1 challenge for channel points on my Twitch channel. And there's a few things I want to talk about in this game that could relate to all ranks. So
the battle begins.
The most important thing in middle, and generally who wins mid lane, is who gets the most last hits and denies. It's like the most important thing no matter what. Getting kills can be important, matchup knowledge is important, but if you're just better at last hitting than somebody, that is by far the easiest way to get an advantage in the mid lane. So I'm playing a little too aggressive here. I should just be playing to last hit. We have about the same damage. And as you see here, an important mistake the Arc Warden does is he does not last hit this range creep. I score the deny. And this was honestly a pretty rough wave for me. But despite the terrible position from this wave, like he had a little bit of a better block. I aggro back by accident when I was right-clicking him. I have more CS so far. And because it's a range versus range matchup, even if I take some poke harass, nobody can play too aggressively, and it's just going to be whoever last hits better. So you can see he's pulling the creeps back, which is very important. I think that's very well played from him, just so he can try to secure the last hits. And it doesn't really matter, because I'm getting the denies anyway, right? So he should be able to score these. The projectile speed is really nice on Quap, but because he's basically a melee hero, if he's standing right next to the creep and I have to time my last hits, it should be much harder for me to score those last hits. So that is some way you can use creep aggro to kind of get an advantage. I'm securing the range creep with my spell, and then another deny. And this lane is pretty much over as long as I don't die. So I even skill my blink here when he goes all in for a kill. Even in a normal game of Dota, and this is just a 1v1, this kind of a CS advantage is generally insurmountable. Like, maybe he bottle rushes on a normal hero and eventually gets the bottle, but this should lead to a really big advantage. Once my bottle gets here, I'll be full HP anyway. And it takes me a long time to kill him, but... And I'll just fast forward to when he eventually dies. But just to like show the XP differential with a CS lead like this. And keep in mind, I'm about 9,600 MMR right now. My highest was 10k. This guy's 6 to 7k. It's not like he's a terrible mid player. He's probably very nervous because he's 1v1ing me on stream. But level 4 3/4 with equal creeps on the floor, I'm 5 1/4. So I'm a whole level ahead. So I'll just hit 6 first and kill him. Regardless of like if I land my spells or whatever, this should just be an insurmountable lead and kind of what you should be going for. Now there is a tool that I honestly have used to practice recently, and I'll just let this play for the kill. There's a tool I wanted to quickly show.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And then some like small like words of advice I'll use while I'm in the trainer thing too.
Radiant's bottom tower, Dunder's middle tower is under attack.
So he'll just eventually die here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Poor feller. And net worth wise as well, this is a huge lead. And honestly, this matchup is pretty even, I think. Maybe even a little bit Arc Warden favored in the early part of the lane. Lane against Quapness can be like very volatile, right? Like I spam my spell on and whatever. But this was purely a CS win, and that's how the mid lane should look in most matchups. You're like, even if you're Ember Spirit versus Huskar, if you can get a CS lead like that in the first few waves, you're probably gonna beat the Huskar. So like if I'm 9k MMR mid, right, 9.6, 10k, whatever, and I'm against a Huskar who's 4k MMR, I'll probably just deny every creep level 1, and that'll be good enough for me to win that lane, despite the matchup being bad. So something you always want to focus on is your CSing skills. And there is a good CS trainer in the game. that's done by Valve, but I prefer the training polygon, and you can pick what server you play on. So I've been playing Europe West, which gives me like some pretty bad lag, just because I'm from NA, and the NA server is pretty trash these days. And they have this training polygon in the arcade, and I'll show exactly where to go again. So the arcade, it's called Training Polygon. I love this. You know, that should probably favorite it. But you go to the last hit trainer, and you pick whatever hero you want to learn. So let's say you're a little Invoker spammer. Your starting items is always something like this on Invoker. Where's the circlets? Let's just even say you just have all stats, right? My only downside with this trainer is I wish that you could level spells properly. Like, I too get Sunstrike, but I can't be more than level 1. And I'm last hitting against the sniper, technically. It's not just who can get the CS, but who can time the CS as well. So it has your last hit delay. So I'll try to do it really slowly here. So a sniper won't be able to kill both these at once, necessarily. I'll get a good example soon. Trying to do a bad one on purpose, but the sniper is just denying me. Maybe here, since there's a bunch of creeps that are low. So that was 0.699. And you want this to be as close to 0 as possible. And this does a really good job of simulating what it's like to be 1v1 against another human who's slightly worse at CSing than you. And the goal, again, is to not get every CS. It's just to try to time your last hits better. And this is probably the biggest tip I can give if you're trying to win your lane more as mid, is getting your CS delay as low as possible on whatever server you play on. So again, like I'm practicing on the Europe West server right now. So that was pretty good delay. Under 0.2 is like S tier, I would say. Like 0 is obviously the best possible. I'm not gonna be too good at this while I'm yapping, but and you can see I'm trying to time it with like the range creep projectile. You can do it from far away. You can practice creep aggroing as well, so I'll try to creep aggro this melee creep towards me while I go for the CS. Because that's a trick you want to have, so I bring that towards me. And again, I'm going to be a little off focus while I'm talking, but I'll wait for the next wave for that. Okay, so something people do is they'll aggro the creeps as they get low. So that was a little bit of a trick there. I'll try to bring this one too. So trying to lower the projectile speed. And it's been a while since I've done this with the creep aggro, but yeah, that's basically the biggest tip I can give for middle. And then kind of a secondary little bonus tip I wanted to like also put in the video is the number one thing you could do to get better at mid is to practice your CSing. But knowing this, what I'm about to show as well, is the most important thing for not falling behind in the early game and being able to move around. So unless you're playing sniper middle or something, and honestly, there's a bit of a flow chart you can do too that I'll try to go over really quickly. So let's say I'm playing Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit's a very classic mid hero. I'm level 6. Let's just give myself some random items. So I'm gonna put an enemy Tide Hunter here-ish. No, he'll spawn on top of my hero. Okay. I'm gonna walk him bottom. And I'm gonna spawn neutrals. So usually you want to push the lane, okay, at this point in the game, if you can. If you're able to push the lane, it's very good, because while they're dealing with the creeps on the tower, I can either TP bottom and go for a kill, or I can farm a neutral camp before the next wave comes, and typically boots helps for that. So if you are like Coddles rush boots for that, for example. If it's gonna take too much of my resources or time, like let's say I'm level 3, right? I'm not going to go kill the neutral camp right now. I can stack it for later. So I push the wave in. This next wave is going to come in. It's usually going to crash at 45, but it's going to take a little longer than that because I pushed the wave in, and I can go and stack this camp for later, right?
Storm Force 5.
So we get a stack. With boots, you'll typically get the experience on this creep, depending what happens. If you miss one creep for a stack, that's super worth it. And, you know, now I could go kill it, especially with treads or something, or when I have max Q, like on Pangolier, if I make myself a stack, or on Puck, I typically wait till I have max Q to go for it. And your best option generally as mid, if it's available to you, is you push the wave, and I can TP bottom. Oh, well, the Tidehunter's throwing, so I go for a kill. So we're ganking this Tide. And that was a TP, and generally you want to do your ganks with TPs in the early game if you can. And by the time I walk back middle, I'm only going to miss maybe half the wave, or if I do miss a whole wave, I can go for a stack or a bounty rune or a neutral camp on the way, and I'm not going to be too inefficient, right? I missed one creep after teleporting to the bottom lane. And I'm going to give myself another teleport, because I'll show what happens if you walk as well. But it's very important to not miss your middle waves. Sometimes you're going to be in a very tough matchup or tough game where you're not allowed to just freely push this lane. Like, this lane is empty, right? But I can guarantee you there's probably a lot more games than you would give credit to where, you know, I go push the lane, I can walk bottom and go for this kill. And walking sucks because there could be wards everywhere, right? Typically, if I'm going to walk towards the lane, it's because I farmed these camps, maybe getting a bounty rune or something. But this is generally warded a lot, and it's a little spooky. And, okay, I'm close enough. I go for my kill. You know, there's going to be other people laning here. And you want to have quick, easy kills when you're trying to snowball. I TB back, I missed one creep. And it's the exact same time as it was before, right? In the first example, I TP'd, got a kill, and walked back to mid. And I got here with one creep being dead. And this is the exact amount of, like, thought you really need to put into this, where if you push wave, you can go do anything. You can go farm a camp, you can go stack camps, you can go for a kill, you can TP for a kill, you can even TP home and refill, or walk home and refill. But as long as you can push the wave, you are going to have a pretty good time of doing whatever you want when you're winning a lot of the time. Now, let's say you are getting pushed into, right? Like, let's say the enemy mid is pushing in and doing stuff. Well, you can let the tower nuke the wave for you and then still have time to farm a camp or stack it before the next wave a lot of the time and respond to his gank. Like, let's say you're a sniper or something and Storm is pushing the wave into you. Well, you're probably going to be bullying him while he's trying to push, but either way, well, you just farm under the tower and then you go take your stacks or whatever you're doing. Maybe even go for a kill yourself. But these two things will help the most out of anything. You don't want to be going... There's too many people I've coached where they'll TP for a kill and they'll wait in the trees for forever and they're just going to be missing waves. You want your kills to be fast. You want to minimize time left out of the lane. You want to lose maybe half a creep wave maximum when you're going for kills in the early game when you're trying to snowball. And there's always exceptions. These aren't hard rules. Like, you know, you get a triple kill and a long fight happens. Yeah, like, you're not going to come back to your lane very quickly. But if you're going for pickoffs or just like a tempo kill or like your Puck, you're just using your coil, you want to get in and get out unless you're going to push the tower. You don't want to be sitting around. You don't want to be waiting for another kill. A little cute play that people tend to do a lot as well is they'll go for a kill on the carry, and if they didn't use too much, they'll wait in the trees while they're pushing the tower to kill him again when he TPs. But that's neither here nor there. Try to use that little like flow chart of, okay, I pushed the lane. Can I go for a kill? If no, can I kill a jungle camp fast enough? If no, can I stack some jungle camps? If no, maybe even go back to the base if you need to like reset or get some HP. And yeah, that was just it for this like quick little video. I didn't want it to be longer than 15 minutes or whatever. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to make a few more of these tip videos. There's a bunch more mid tips I have. I just don't want to make like a 2-hour long video about everything I've ever learned about mid. I just thought these two things were very good, important beginner thing for mid players. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the content.